Actually, I was the one that found the pad, so it sounded shaky anymore.
Sam.
What?
It's really sweaty. Sam.
I can't help. I can't.
Thank you. So I'm glad nothing changed.
Watch this blinking thing.
Okay, is that all right? Jimmy's a pretty large person. That gives him he can walk.
Actually, I wear glasses. Just put on my glasses. Okay. Here's me with glasses, and here's the Poetry Show 95 thing again. You can see that it's blinking. Oh, here's Mark. He's in 7th grade. I can't see you, it's too dark. You have to back up, Mark. Let me do this focus. Oh, I see your face.
Oh, cool, I can see it focused.
Yeah. You can see your...
Hey, Sam, what do you have, Sam, stop. Does it have one of those special things where that viewfinder goes right through that?
Yeah.
Cool.
It's the color viewfinder.
Whoa, yeah, I remember.
Can you take your hand off for a second?
Wait, let me, it's still recording. I'm just, let me zoom on to the,
Call this pregame poetry show 95.
I know. I yelled out, oh.
Let's not overwrite this.
Huh?
Let's not overwrite this, then.
Look okay?
Fine, wait.
On his nose.
Fine? How do I look? Hollywood? Yeah. Docudrama?
Jim again. Yeah, that's Mark. Mark.
Guess who?
I'm losing the focus.
Can you just turn the light off, by the way?
Sure.
Ah,
Thank you.
the camera lens. Don't mind that. We're gonna keep this in the tape, by the way.
Oh. Hey,
Child garden of great thoughts and delightful verses, and come grow with us. Poetry both serious and silly, and it's presented by the children of Birchwood School, and here they are.
Thank you. Take a bow. All right. Good.
Welcome to a child's garden of great thoughts and delightful verses. We have found a garden of words that help us to grow. Come grow with us.
In this garden we learn, we think, we ponder,
We are inspired.
we stretch,
We see.
We laugh.
we sympathize, we accept,
We are challenged.
we grow.
Come grow with us. In this garden are words, thoughts, verses, speeches. We can live by words, we can grow by words. So, for our garden we have picked great words.
For example, great speeches of all time. In the year 1775, people were still debating whether or not to go into war with Great Britain. On March 28, 1775, Patrick Henry gave this speech to the Virginia Convention. It is in vain, sir, to extenuate the matter. Gentlemen may cry, peace, peace, but there is no peace. The war is actually begun. The next gale that sweeps from the north will bring to our ears the clash of resounding arms. Our brethren are already in the fields. Why stand we here idle? What is it that gentlemen wish? What would they have? Is life so dear, or peace so sweet, as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death.
Abraham Lincoln delivered the Gettysburg Address at the dedication of the National Cemetery at Gettysburg on November 19, 1868. 407 years ago, our fathers brought forth upon this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. We have come here today to dedicate a portion of this field as a final resting place to those who here gave their lives that this nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this, but in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it far above our power to add or detract. We here highly resolve that the dead shall not have died in vain, and this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, and for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
On August 28, 1963, Martin Luther King Jr. gave this speech at a civil rights convention in Washington, D.C. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, every hill and mountain shall be made low. The rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This is our hope. This is the faith with which I return to the South. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. And if America is to become a great nation, this must become true. So let freedom ring from the mighty mountains of New York. Let freedom ring from the heightening Alleghenies of Pennsylvania. But not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill in Mississippi, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring.
For our garden, we also take great humor by the great names in humorous poetry.
There was a young lady whose chin, by Edward Lear.
There was a young lady whose chin resembled the point of a pin.
She had it made sharp and purchased a harp
And played several tunes with her chin.
There was a young lady whose eyes, by Edward Lear.
There was a young lady whose eyes were unique as to color and size.
When she opened them wide,
People all turned aside and started away in surprise.
The Pizza by Ogden Nash.
Look at Itsy Bitsy Mitsy.
see her figure, slim,
And Ritzy, she eats a.
pizza, greedy, Missy.
She no longer Itsy Bitsy.
For our garden, we've also picked great thoughts inspiring great virtues in poetic form.
And we have chosen great poets.
Who've written time-tested great poetry for children.
We now present to you
The students of Birchwood School.
In a child's garden of great thoughts and delightful verses. Come grow with us.
Words for every individual in a democracy to take to heart.
John D. Rockefeller Jr., son of the rich and famous businessman John D. Rockefeller, listed the things that make life most worth living on July 8, 1941. I believe in the supreme worth of the individual and in his right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I believe that law was made for man and not man for the law, that the government is the servant of the people and not their master. I believe that every right implies a responsibility, every opportunity an obligation, every possession a duty. I believe in the dignity of labor, whether with the head or with the hand, that the world owes no man a living, but the opportunity to make a living. I believe in the sacredness of a promise, that a man's word should be as good as his bond, that character, not wealth or power or position, is of supreme worth. I believe that love is the greatest thing in the world, that it alone can overcome hate, that right can triumph over might.
On August 27, 1952, Governor Adlai Stevenson of Illinois gave a speech at the American Legion Convention to define patriotism. Patriotism, it seems to me, is based on tolerance and a large measure of humility. There are men among us who use patriotism as a club for attacking other Americans.
What can we say for the self-styled patriot who thinks that a Negro, a Jew, a Catholic, or a Japanese American is less than American than he? That betrays the deepest article of our faith, the belief in individual liberty and equality, which has always been the heart and soul of the American idea. It was always accounted a virtue in a man to love his country. With us, it is now something more than a virtue. It is a necessity, a condition of survival. When an American says that he loves his country, he means not only that he loves the New England hills, the prairies glistening in the sun, the wide and rising plains, the great mountains, and the sea. He means that he loves an inner air, an inner light in which freedom lives and in which a man can draw the breath of self-respect. Men who have offered their lives for their country know that patriotism is not the fear of something, it is the love of something.
On July 4th, 1826, the 50th anniversary of the adoption of the Declaration of Independence, John Adams and Thomas Jefferson died. The following speech was given at the double memorial service by the great orator Daniel Webster. He tried to portray his speech in a way that John Adams might have. Sink or swim, live or die, survive or perish, I give my hand and my heart to this vote. My judgment approves this measure, and my whole heart is in it. All that I am, and all that I have, and all that I hope in this life, I am ready now here to stake upon it. And I leave off as I began, that live or die, survive or perish, I am for the Declaration. It is my living sentiment, and by the blessing of God, it shall be my dying sentiment. Independence now, and independence forever.
Celery by Ogden Nash. Celery raw develops the jaw, but celery stewed is more quietly chewed.
Not Termite by Ogden Nash. Some primal termite knocked on wood and tasted it and found it good. And that is why your cousin May fell through the parlor floor today.
My Face by Anthony Ewing. As a beauty, I am not a star. There are others more handsome by far. But my face, I don't mind it, for I am behind it. It is the people in front get the jar.
Now the first and second graders.
Never mind, we want to do another poem. Mustard
By
Ogden Nash.
I'm mad about mustard, even
On
Custard.
second graders.
The first and second graders will recite poems by Robert Louis Stevenson and Laura Richards. The Swing by Robert Louis Stevenson.
How would you like to go
Up in the swing, up in the air so loose. Behind is the pleasantest thing ever a child can do. Up in the air and over the wall, till I can see so wide. Rivers and trees and cattle and all, over the countryside.
gets so little that there's none of him at all. He hasn't got a notion of how children ought to play and can only make a fool of him in every sort of way. He stays so close beside me, he's a coward, you can see. I think shame to stick to nurse and that shadow stick to me. One morning very early, before the sun was up, I rose and found the shiny dew on every buttercup. But my lazy little shadow, like an errant sleeping hat, had stayed at home behind me and was fast asleep in bed.
These are great speeches that inspire us to act in times of war. This speech by General Douglas MacArthur was given to the cadets at West Point on the 12th of May, 1962, when he made his final roll call with them. General MacArthur made a speech on duty, honor, and country. Duty, honor, country was the motto adapted by West Point in 1898. General MacArthur was one of the great generals along with Patton and Eisenhower. He served during World War II and controlled the Pacific Theater. Duty, honor, country. Those three hallowed words reverently dictate what you want to be, what you can be, what you will be. They are your rallying point to build courage when courage seems to fail, to rain faith when there seems to be little cause for faith, to create hope when hope becomes forlorn. They teach you to be proud and unbending in honest failure, but humble and gentle in success. Not to substitute words for actions, not to seek the path of comfort, but to face the stress and spur of difficulty and challenge, to learn to stand up in the storm, but have compassion for those who fall, to master yourself before you seek to master others, to have a heart that is clean, a goal that is high, to learn to laugh, yet never forget how to weep, to reach into the future, yet never neglect the past, to be serious, yet never take yourself too seriously, to be modest, so you will remember the simplicity of true greatness, the open mind of true wisdom, the meekness of true strength. The long gray line has never failed us. Were it to do so, a million ghosts in olive drab, in brown khaki, in blue and gray, would rise from their white crosses, thundering those magic words, duty, honor, country.
This speech by Winston Spencer Churchill was given to the British House of Commons on the 13th of May, 1940. He wanted to speak to them to ease their fears of the upcoming German attack. We have before us an ordeal of the most grievous kind. We have before us many, many long months of struggle and of suffering. You ask, what is our policy? I can answer. To wage war by sea, land, and air, with all our might and with all the strength that God can give us. To wage war against the monstrous tyranny, never surpassed in the dark, the mental catalog of human crime. That is our policy. You ask, what is our aim? I will answer in one word. Victory. Victory at all costs. Victory in spite of terror. Victory, however long and hard the road may be. For without victory, there is no survival. Let it be realized, no survival for the British Empire, no survival for the urge and impulse of the ages, that man may move forward toward his goal. But I take up my task with buoyancy and hope. I believe our cause will not be suffered to fail among men. So I now feel entitled to claim the aid of all, as I say. Come then, let us go forward with our united strength.
King George VI of England never overcame his dislike of public speaking, but nevertheless made a number of inspiring speeches during World War II. On September 3, 1939, he broadcasted the following speech. In this brave hour, perhaps the most fateful in our history, I send to every household of my peoples, both at home and overseas, this message, spoken with the same depth or feeling for each one of you, as if I were able to cross your threshold and speak to you myself. For the second time in the lives of most of us, we are at war. Over and over again, we have tried to find a peaceful way out of the differences between ourselves and those who are now our enemies. But it has been in vain, for we have been forced into a conflict. We have been called, with our allies, to meet a challenge of principle that if it were to prevail, would be fatal to any civilized order in the world. A new year is at hand. We do not know what it will bring us. If it brings peace, how thankful we all shall be. But if it brings us continued struggle, we shall remain undaunted. But in the meantime, I think that we would all find a message of encouragement in the lines in which my closing words I would like to say to you. I said to the man at the gate of the year, "Give me a light, that I may tread into the unknown." And he replied, "Go into the darkness, and put your hand into the hand of God. This shall be better to you than light, and safer than a known way." May that almighty hand guide and uphold us all.
Chief Joseph of the Nez Perce Indians surrendered to the United States Army in 1877. Though he was admitting defeat, he did it with dignity as if he was announcing a victory. Tell General Howard I know his heart. What he told me before, I have it in my heart. I am tired of fighting. Our chiefs are killed. Looking Glass is dead. Tawuhushoot is dead. The old men are all dead. It is the young men who say yes or no. He who led the young men is dead. It is cold. We have no blankets. The little children are freezing to death. My people, some of them, have run away to the hills and have no blankets, no food. No one knows where they are, perhaps freezing to death. I want to have some time to look for my children and see how many of them I can find. Maybe I shall find them among the dead. Hear me, my chiefs. I am tired. My heart is sick and sad. From where the sun now stands, I will fight no more, forever.
General Bernard Montgomery was a field commander with the British 8th Army from January 1942 to June 1944 as the Desert Rats fought Erwin Rommel, the brilliant German general, from Alamein across North Africa and then into Sicily and southern Italy. Monty, as he was universally known, cared for his soldiers' morale and was able to speak despite their words. The defense of Egypt lies here at Alamein and on the Blue Islet Ridge. What is the use of digging trenches in the Delta? It is quite useless. If we lose this position, we lose Egypt. All the fighting troops now in the Delta must come here at once, and will. Here we will stand and fight. There will be no further withdrawal. I have ordered that all plans and instructions dealing with further withdrawal are to be burnt, and at once. We will stand and fight here. If we can't stay here alive, then let us stay here dead.
By Ogden Nash.
Any hound a porcupine nudges can't be blamed for harboring grudges.
I know one hound that laughed all winter.
And a porcupine that sat on a splinter. Ned Knott.
This poem is anonymous.
Ned Knott was shot.
And Sam Shot was not. So it is better to be shot than not.
Some say not.
Was not shot.
But Shot says
He shot not. Either the shotted not, was not shot.
if the shot not,
The knot was shot.
but if the shot,
Then shot was shot.
Not. However,
The shot,
shot,
not shot,
but not. Yeah.
Experiences that we have in school. Our first poem is Questions.
The questions they ask, it's a terrible test to answer them right. Although you are quite sure you know what to say when the questions are said, as soon as I'm asked them, I seem to forget.
Who was Francis Drake?
And where do they make the very best knives? Who were the 6 wives of Henry VIII? What are my thin cheese? And what is the French for some more, if you please? Where is Timbuktu? What did Nero do? What moors in Devon?
What's 5 and 11?
And who was the first man to reach the North Pole?
And what was the cold mine before it was cold? Sometimes I say it right away. Other times, I just sort of know. But most of the times when the questions are set,
As soon as I ask them, I seem to forget.
some students at Birchwood School are learning to speak French. We'd like to dedicate this poem to our teacher, Mrs. West. It's called French. Isn't it strange that in Paris, you are vous, and moi is me, and no and yes are no and we. Isn't it odd that in Bordeaux, bread is pain,
And water, oh,
and good and fair are
bon and beau.
Isn't it queer that in Calais, French is in French, and is Francais?
What sort of French can that be, pray?
Sometimes we all get caught jabbering in school.
Was that me jabbering?
I expect it was. It's no use explaining why and because.
When you've been jabbering, teacher doesn't try to take any interest in because and why.
I might have seen a hen flying in the sun.
Or been telling Jeannie her penny was undone.
I might have been noticing something dark and dire.
The blinds in the Play-Doh are the curtains on fire. I might have had a stomach ache. Or there might have been lots of reasons why I was jabbering with Jean.
But it's no use explaining why and because.
Was that me jabbering?
I expect it was. The next two poems are also written by Eleanor Franklin. As you listen to a poem called Breakfast, see if you've ever felt this way early in the morning. Is there coffee for breakfast? I wish it was tea.
Jam? Oh, why can't there be honey for me?
Is it brown bread and butter? I wish it was toast.
Is it just bread and milk? I like porridge the most.
Is it soft-boiled eggs, brother? I'd rather have fried. You know I don't like soft-boiled eggs, so I've tried.
A horrid breakfast. This breakfast the worst.
Who has a lot of insects? Wrong leg first. The title of this poem is Bedtime. Mom, please remember it at bedtime tonight. 5 minutes? 5 minutes more, please. Let me say 5 minutes more. Can't I just finish this castle I'm building here on the floor? Can't I just finish the story I'm reading here in my book? Can't I just finish this beach train? It almost is finished. Look.
Can't I just finish my game, please? My game's once begun. It's a pity never to find out whether you've lost or won.
Can't I just stay 5 minutes? Well, can't I just stay 3 minutes then? 2 minutes?
Can't I stay 1 minute more?
Our next poem teaches us many qualities about friendship. In The Maple by Eleanor Farjon, we learn that friendship is sharing. In our big maple tree, there's a platform Father made, and little seats high in the boughs. We're in the deepest shade inside the great green symbol. My friends can climb with me to sit a while and whisper within the whispering tree. This poem by William Wordsworth is called To a Child. It teaches us that
Friendship is giving.
small service is true service. Well, alas,
Of humblest friends, bright creatures,
born not one. The daisy by the shadow that it casts protects the lingering dewdrop from the sun. Friendship is loving. This is called Poem by Langston Hughes. I loved my friend. He went away from me. There's nothing more to say. The poem ends, soft as it began. I love my friend.
In The Quarrel by Eleanor Farjeon teaches us that
Friendship is forgiving.
I quarreled with my brother. I don't know what about. One thing led to another, and somehow we fell out.
The start of it was slight, the end of it was strong.
he said he was right.
I knew he was wrong.
We hated one another.
The afternoon turned black.
Then suddenly, my brother thumped me on the back and said, "Oh, come along. We can't go on all night. I was in the wrong."
So he was in the right. Our last poem is called The Sparrow Bush. In it, Elizabeth Coatsworth finds beauty in a simple sparrow. Friendship is appreciating others just for who they are.
I looked up at the lilac bush. All the twigs were sad and bare.
But wow, I looked.
Like a bird suddenly alighted there. They were not special birds at all.
Just sparrows, gray
And black and brown.
and some sat feathers way puffed out.
And some were hopping up and down. They didn't make the littlest sound. On everything there seemed a hush. But I have never seen a sight as pretty as that sparrow bush.
We now present words that have stirred us in the quest for freedom and equality.
Ranch Rickey gave this speech to the press on November 12, 1926. He tells about what makes a ball player as great as Jackie Robinson. What is the greatest single thing in the character of a successful enterprise, in the character of a boy, in the character of a great baseball player? I think it is the desire to become a great baseball player, a desire that dominates him, a desire that is so great that it does not admit of anything that runs counter to it, a desire to excel that so confines him to a single purpose that nothing else matters.
Stephen Arnold Douglas was a self-educated lawyer whose career ran parallel to that of Abraham Lincoln from the 1830s until 1860, when Lincoln defeated Douglas in the presidential election. In perhaps the most moving speech of his career, he addressed the Illinois legislature on the threat of the Civil War. Men were said to have wept and cheered by turns, as he ended with the words, "I have struggled, almost against hope, to avert the calamities of war, and to effect a reunion and reconciliation with our brethren of the South. Hence, whatever we may do must be the result of conviction of patriotic duty, a duty we owe to ourselves, to our posterity, and to the friends of constitutional liberty and self-government throughout the world. My friends, I can say no more. To discuss these topics is the most painful duty of my life. It is with a sad heart, with a grief that I have never before experienced, that I have to contemplate this fearful struggle. But I believe in my conscience it is a duty we owe to ourselves, to our children, and to our God, to protect this government and that flag from every assailant. be he who he may.
John Brown was sentenced to death on November 2nd, 1859, after seizing the arsenal at Harper's Ferry in West Virginia. This court acknowledges too, I suppose, the validity of the law of God. I see a bookcase, which I suppose to be the Bible, or at least the New Testament, which teaches me that all things whatsoever that men should do to me, I should even do to them. Now it is deemed necessary that I should forfeit my life for the furtherance of the ends of justice, and to mingle my blood with the blood of my children and the blood of the million slaves in this country. I say, let it be done.
Booker T. Washington was an African-American educator and leader. In 1896, he received an honorary degree of Master of Arts from Harvard University. He gave the following speech about the American standard to their alumni. During the next half-century and more, my race must continue passing through the severe American crucible. We are to be tested in our patience, our forbearance, our perseverance, our power to endure wrong, to withstand temptation, to be economized, to acquire and use skills, our ability to compete, to succeed in commerce, to disregard the superficial for the real, the appearance for the substance, to be great and yet small, learned and yet simple, high and yet the servant of all. This is the passport to all that is best in the life of our republic, and the Negro must possess it or be debarred. We of both races in the South soon shall throw off the shackles of prejudices and rise above the clouds of ignorance, narrowness, and selfishness into that atmosphere, that pure sunshine, where it will be our highest ambition to serve man, our brother, regardless of race or previous condition.
W.E.B. Du Bois was a leading opponent of Booker T. Washington. He gave this speech on October 20th, 1946 to the Southern Youth Legislature. This is an excerpt from that speech. Here is the chance for young women and young men of devotion to lift again the banner of humanity, to walk towards a civilization which is free and intelligent, healthy and unafraid, and to build in the world a culture led by black folk and joined by people of all colors and all races without poverty, ignorance, and disease. Once the great German poet said, "Happy man whom death shall find in victory's splendor. But I know a happier one, he who fights in despair and in defeat still fights."
On the day of April 5th, 1968, while campaigning in Cleveland and only 60 days before his own assassination, Robert Kennedy spoke of the death of Martin Luther King. Here are the excerpts. Whenever any American's life is taken by another American unnecessarily, whether it is done in the name of law or in the defiance of law, by one man or a gang, in cold blood or in passion, in intact bonds or in responsive bonds, whenever we tear at the fabric of life which another man is painfully and clumsily woven for himself and his children, the whole nation is degraded. For there is another kind of violence, slower but just as deadly, destructive as the shot of the bomb in the night. When you teach a man to hate and fear his brother, when you teach that he is a lesser man because of his color or his beliefs, surely we can learn at least to look at those around us as fellow men, and surely we can begin to work a little harder to bind up the wounds among us, and to become in our own hearts brothers and countrymen once again.
Sojourner Truth was born into slavery in Ulster County in New York State and named Isabella. In 1843, she renamed herself Sojourner her truth and began to travel across the country as a religious missionary. In 1851, she attended the Ohio Women's Rights Convention in Akron, and as she rose to speak, there was a hiss of disapproval. But when she finished, there were roars of applause from the audience. That man over there says that women need to be helped into carriages and lifted over ditches and to have the best place everywhere. Nobody ever helps me into carriages or over mud puddles or gives me any best place. And ain't I a woman? Look at me. Look at my arm. I have plowed and planted and gathered into barns, and no man can heed me. And ain't I a woman? I could work as much and eat as much as a man if I could get it, and fare the lashes well. And ain't I a woman? I have borne 13 children and seen them most all sold off to slavery. And when I cried out with my mother's grief, none but Jesus heard me. And ain't I a woman? Then, that little man in black there says that women can't have as much rights as men, because Christ wasn't a woman. Where did your Christ come from? Where did your Christ come from? From God and a woman. Man had nothing to do with it. If the first woman God made was strong enough to turn the world upside down, then these women ought to be able to turn it back and get it right side up again. And now they is asking to do it. The men better let them. Obliged to you for hearing me, and now old Sojourner ain't got nothing more to say.
Limericks by Edward Lear.
There was an old man on a hill.
Who seldom, if ever, stood still.
He ran up and down.
In his grandmother's
Which adorned that old man on a hill.
A Lullaby by Lewis Carroll. Oh yeah, and if this poem sounds nonsensical to you, don't worry, it sounds nonsensical to us too.
Speak roughly to your little boy.
And beat him when he sneezes. He only does it to annoy.
Because he knows it teases.
Wow, wow, wow.
I speak severely to my boy.
I beat him when he sneezes.
For he can thoroughly enjoy.
The pepper when he pleases.
Wow, wow, wow.
The cow mainly moves as she chooses to move, and she chooses to moo as she chooses.
She furthermore chews as she chooses to chew, as she chooses to chew as she muses.
If she chooses to moo, she may moo to amuse, or may moo just to moo as she chooses.
If she chooses to chew, she may moo as she chews, or may chew just to chew as she chooses.
This poem is dedicated to those who love spicy food and always come back for more. It's called When Tilly Ate the Chili. When Tilly ate the chili, she erupted from her seat.
She gulped a quart of water and fled screaming down the street.
She coughed, she wheezed, she sputtered. She ran totally amok.
She set a new world record as she raced around the block.
Tilly's mouth was full of fire. Tilly's eyes were red with tears. She was smoking from her nostrils. She was steaming from her ears.
She cooled off an hour later, showing perfect self-control, as she said, "What tasty chili!
I should like another bowl."
Sometimes poetry causes us to wonder and ponder. This poem is a virtue of endurance. It is entitled The Yellow Tulip and is written by George Sweet. For weeks, it struggled through the hard crust of the spring earth in a foot of air, just to be scorched by the sun.
Jolted by raindrops, blasted by the wind. But on this gentle May morning, as it opens yellow petals to the sky, nothing else matters. In the poem Mother to Son by Langston Hughes, we consider the virtues of perseverance and not giving up. Well, son, I'll tell you, life for me ain't been no crystal stair. It's had tacks in it, and splinters, and boards torn up, and places, no carpet on the floor, bare. But all the time, I've been a-climbing on, and reaching lanterns, and turning corners, and sometimes going in the dark, where there ain't been no light.
So boy, don't you turn back. Don't you step down on the steps, 'cause you find it's kinda hard. Don't you fall now, for I'm still going, honey. I'm still climbing.
And life for me ain't been no crystal stair.
Some poems are written just to be enjoyed, and others for a chuckle. The title of this poem is Susanna Socked Me Sunday by
Jack Orlovsky.
Susanna socked me Sunday. She socked me Monday too. She also socked me Tuesday. I was hurt.
She socked me double Wednesday.
And Thursday even more.
When she socked me Friday, she began to get me sore. Enough's enough.
I yelled at her.
I hate it when you hit me.
Well, then I won't.
Susanna said.
That Saturday, she bit me! In this poem, Ounce and Bounce, you will see Jack Walensky's sense of humor. I'm Owen Bounce, and he is
Owen Ounce. Owen Ounce and Owen Bounce fell off a speeding train.
both were rather fortunate and lived to fall again.
Owen Bounce, who weighed an ounce, was cushioned by soft shrubbery.
Bo and Ounce just bounced and bounced, and he was round and rubber.
Title of this poem is I'm the single most wonderful person I know by Jack Orlovsky. I'm the single most wonderful person I know. I'm witty, I'm charming, I'm smart. I'm often so brilliant I actually glow. I'm a genius in music and art. I'm super. I'm splendid. I'm stunning. I'm
Bible tells us that the three greatest virtues are faith, hope, and love.
In Be Like the Bird by Victor Hugo, we learn that faith always believes. Be like the bird who, halting in his flight, on limbs whose flight,
Feels it give way beneath him, yet sings.
knowing he has wings. In the following poem called Hope, Emily Dickinson compares hope to a bird that tirelessly sings and never asks for anything in return.
Hope is the thing with feathers
That perches in the soul and sings the tune without the word and never stops at all.
And sweetest in the gale is heard,
And storm and speed of storm
that could have passed, little bird that kept so many warm.
I've heard it in the chillest land, and on the strangest sea, yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me.
This poem, Longfellow suggests that we offer something of ourselves to the world. A good deed, a kind word, our love.
These are like shooting an arrow or reading a song into the air.
I shot an arrow into the air. It fell to earth. I knew not where.
For who has sight so keen and strong that it can follow the flight of song? I breathed the song into the air. It fell to earth, I knew not where. For who has sight so keen and strong that it can follow the flight of song?
Long, long afterward, in an oak, I found the arrow still unbroke.
and the song from beginning to end, I found again in the heart of a friend.
Ice cream time! Ice cream! Oh, that, I know that. Oh, yeah.
Our last poem is Bleezer's Ice Cream Store by Jack Valetsky. Would you like to try one of these unusual flavors?
I am Ebenezer Bleezer. I run Bleezer's Ice Cream Store.
There are flavors in my freezer you have never seen before.
28 divine creations, too delicious to resist.
Why not do yourself a favor? Try the flavors on my list.
Coca Mocha Macaroni.
Tapioca smoked bologna.
Checker berry cheddar chew, chicken cherry honeydew.
Tutti Frutti Stew Tomato.
Tuna taco baked potato.
Lobster lychee lima bean.
Mozzarella mango steam.
Almond ham meringue salami.
Game anchovy prune pastrami.
Sassafras Lebowski has sukiyaki succotash.
Butterpickle pepper pickle. Pomegranate pumpernickel.
Peach tomato. Pizza plum.
Peanuts pumpkin bubblegum.
Broccoli banana cluster. Chocolate chops sweet cluster.
Avocado Brussels sprout. Periwinkle sauerkraut.
Cotton candy carrot custard.
Cauliflower cola mustard.
Onion dumpling double dip.
Turnip truffle triple flip. Garlic gumbo gravy guava. Lentil lemon liver lava.
Orange olive bagel bean. Watermelon waffle wheat. I am Ebenezer Bleezer. I run Bleezer's Ice Cream Store.
Taste a flavor from my freezer. You will surely ask for more.
Words of inspiration that have endured through the ages.
Jesus of Nazareth.
Okay, let me get my fake
Abraham
too.
Lincoln. On March 5th, 1865, in Washington, during his second inaugural address, Abraham Lincoln delivered these words. On the occasion corresponding to this, 4 years ago, all All thoughts were anxiously directed to an impending civil war. All dreaded it, all sought to avert it. Both read the same Bible and pray to the same God, and each invoked his aid against the other. Lincoln ended with these words: "With malice toward none, with charity for all, with firmness in the right, as God gives us to see the light, let us strive on to finish the work we are in, to bind up the nation's wounds, to care for him who shall have borne the battle, and for his widow and his orphan, to do all which may achieve and cherish a just and lasting peace among ourselves and with all nations."
Socrates, a Greek philosopher who was a truth seeker, was unjustly condemned to death by ruling Athenians in 399 BC. Socrates refused to compromise his beliefs in order to seek a lighter sentence. To Socrates, depravity or evil was far worse than death. The following is an excerpt from Socrates' speech addressed to his judges. "It is not difficult, O Athenians, to escape death, but it is much more difficult to avoid depravity, for it runs swifter than death. And I, being slow and aged, have been overtaken by the slower of the two, but my accusers, being strong and active, have been overtaken by the swifter, wickedness. And now I depart, condemned by you to death, and they by truth, as guilty of iniquity and injustice. And I abide my sentence, and so do they. And now it is time to depart, for me to die, for you to live. But which of us is going to a better state is unknown to everyone but God."
From the book of Matthew, the first book of the New Testament, Jesus of Nazareth delivered the Sermon on the Mount to his disciples and the multitude. "Ye have heard that it has been said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say unto you, resist not evil. For whosoever shall smite thee on thy right cheek, turn to him thine other also. And if any man will sue you in the law, and take away thy coat, then let him have thy cloak also. Whosoever shall compel thee to go a mile, go with him twain. And give to him that asketh of thee, and turn not thou away. Ye have heard that it hath been said, love your neighbors, and hate thine enemies. But I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you. Do good to those who hate you, and pray for those who despitefully use you and persecute you, that you may be the children of your Father which is in heaven. For he maketh the sun rise on the evil and the good, and sendeth rain on the just and the unjust."
Sylvie and Bruno by Lewis Carroll. He thought he saw a banker's clerk descending from the bus. He looked again and found it was a hippopotamus. "Were this to stay to dine," he said, "there won't be much for us." He thought he saw an albatross that fluttered round the lamp. He looked again and found it was a penny postage stamp. "You'd best be getting home," he said, "the nights are very damp." He thought he saw a coach and four that stood beside his bed. He looked again and found it was a bear without a head. "Poor thing," he said, "poor silly thing, it's waiting to be fed." He thought he saw a kangaroo that worked a coffee mill. He looked again and found it was a vegetable pill. "Were I to swallow this," he said, "I should be very ill." He thought he saw a rattlesnake that questioned him in Greek. He looked again and found it was the middle of next week. "The one thing that I regret," he said, "is that I cannot speak." Thank you for coming to our show, and we hope you enjoyed it. Toodles. Farewell. Bye. We'd like to thank Mrs. Trapp, Mrs. Little, Mrs. Double-F, and Mrs. Prino for spending all their time and effort with us preparing the poetry show. Would Mrs. Double-F, Mrs. Little, and Mrs. Trapp please come up?
And a special surprise, Mrs. Prino, will you please come up too?
Why?